We are on the air. Hare Krishna. Let's do our invocation. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai. So welcome everyone. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 3, called The External Reasons for Lord Chaitanya's Appearance. And this is with translations and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachardane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarane. So, where did we leave off? 91. We're starting on 91. Okay, so. Asura swabhave Krishna kabu nahi jane lukaite nare Krishna bhakta janastane. Those whose nature is demoniac cannot know Krishna at any time, but he cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. Chapter 3, text 91. Is that where we are? That's what I'd read 90. Okay, 91. Okay. Dvavbhuta sargo lokesmin daiva asuram eva cha Vishnu bhakta smrito daiva asuras tadviparyayaha. There are two classes of men in the created world. One consists of the demoniac and the other of the godly. The devotees of Lord Vishnu are the godly, whereas those who are just the opposite are called demons. Purport. This is a verse from the Padma Purana. Vishnu Bhaktas, or devotees in Krishna consciousness, are known as devas, demigods. Atheists who do not believe in God and who declare themselves God are asuras, demons. Asuras always engage in atheistic materialist activities, exploring ways to utilize the resources of matter to enjoy sense gratification. The Vishnu Bhaktas, Krishna conscious devotees, are also active, but their objective is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. Superficially, both classes may appear to work in the same way, but their purposes are completely opposite because of a difference in consciousness. Asuras work for personal sense gratification, whereas devotees work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Both work conscientiously, but their motives are different. Krishna consciousness movement is meant for devas, or devotees. Demons cannot take part in Krishna conscious activities, nor can devotees in Krishna consciousness take part in demoniac activities or work like cats and dogs simply for sense gratification. Such activity does not appeal to those in Krishna consciousness. Devotees accept only the bare necessities of life to keep themselves fit to act in Krishna consciousness. The balance of their energy is used for developing Krishna consciousness, through which one can be transferred to the abode of Krishna by always thinking of him, even at the point of death. So let's just get a little context. Okay, so we're talking about the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And we're talking about how Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is giving evidence from different Puranas to prove that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. He quotes from the Upa Puranas. He quotes from Mahabharata. And he says that people who are faithless, they can't see what's clearly evident, just like owls can't see the sun. Remember we talked about the owls? The ulukas. Yeah. So yeah, then this is where then the idea that Krishna can try to hide himself, but the devotees always understand that he's Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya, he's Krishna, but he came disguised as a devotee, but still the devotees, those who are pure devotees, they could understand that Lord Chaitanya is not an ordinary person. Yeah. Yeah, Krishna came again in the form of Lord Chaitanya, but he came in disguise as a devotee. So many people misunderstand Lord Chaitanya. They don't understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually God. They think he's just a great personality, a great saint, a great social reformer, or whatever. But actually, according to the scriptures, he's Krishna who came again for a particular purpose. And that's what this chapter is about, is the reason for Lord Chaitanya's, why Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. So there's an external reason and an internal reason. And the external reason is that he came to basically teach the world that the process for this age is chanting Hare Krishna, and also that the highest method of bhakti is that which is exhibited by the Brajvasis, is spontaneous, loving, devotional service, right? Not ritualistic or ceremonial or, obligatory service, or service that's, according to strict rules and regulations, but spontaneous service that arises out of love, it just arises spontaneously, naturally from the heart, out of love and devotion for the Lord. So, yeah. Okay. So that's what he came for. And now we're talking about how, there's different kinds of people. So those who are devotees, they can understand the Lord, they can see who the Lord is. Krishna can't hide himself from them. But those who are demonic, even if the Lord's standing right in front of them and saying, I'm God, they still don't recognize. So it's very opposite. Yeah. And he said that these demoniac people, not only do they not recognize the actual Lord as the Lord, but they try to put themselves forward as the Lord, right? They try to just foolishly declare that I'm God, we can all be God. But then what do? They're just engaged in sense gratification. They're like, yes, I'm a controller here, and this is my money, and this is my property, and these are my things, and I'm going to use it all for my sense gratification because I'm entitled, because I'm the supreme enjoyer, right? And I'm the Lord of all I survey. Whereas the devotees, even if they have some, scope, even if they have resources at their disposal and they have a lot of scope for material enjoyment, they don't go there because they're not interested. They just want to use whatever they have in the service of Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. And so even if devotees have a lot of money or whatever, they tend to live simply and just use their energy and resources for Krishna consciousness. Because their goal is not to be well situated in this world. Their goal is to go back to Godhead. Okay. Text 92. Acharya Gosai Prabhu Bhakta Avatara Krishna Avatara Hetu Yanhara Hunkara.
Advaita goes is an incarnation of the Lord as a devotee. He is loud calling was the cause for Krishna's incarnation.
Okay, so yeah, Krishna was thinking to come anyway for these purposes, but then kind of like as an external trigger or catalyst to his coming, Advaita Acharya, who's also an incarnation of the Lord, he's an expansion or a manifestation of Mahavishnu, Karna Dakshaya Vishnu. So he was actually worshiping his Shaligram Shila and loudly calling out to the Lord, please come, the world is really in a dark situation and we really need you to come and revive the processes of religion, revive Krishna consciousness on the planet. Text 93. Krishna yadi prativitte karena avatara pratame karena guru vargira sanchara. Sneha, do you want to read?
Oh. So whenever Sri Krishna desires to manifest his incarnation on earth, first he creates the incarnations of his respectable predecessors.
Yeah, so Krishna is very personal. And you see that Krishna, he has his mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. He also has Vasudeva and Devaki, and he has his grandparents and his teachers and his uncles. And so when Krishna comes, he doesn't like to just show up randomly, like, okay, I'm here, I'm God, and I'm going to save the day. He likes to bring all of his associates from the spiritual world with him. So when Krishna decides to come to this planet to incarnate on earth, then he tells his parents, all right, you go first because you need to be my parents, and parents need to be older, so you need to appear first. He tells all of his, like, any elder family members, any senior teachers, any, like gurus or param gurus, or, all that will play the roles as elders in his pastimes, they all need to take birth first. So, yeah, he arranges all that. 94. Pita mata guru adi yata manya gana pratame karena sabara priti vite janama.
Thus, respectable personalities such as his father, mother, and spiritual master all take birth on earth first.
Text 95. Madhava Ishvara Puri Shachi Jagannatha Advaita Acharya Prakata Haile Se Sata.
Both during the Sri Advaita Acharya. Whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends in his human form, he sends ahead all his devotees, who act as his father, teacher, and associates in many roles. Such personalities appear before the descent of the Supreme Personality of God. Before the appearance of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there appeared his devotees like Sri Madhavendra Puri, his spiritual master, Sri Ishwara Puri, his mother. I'm reading it. Sri Ishwara Puri, his mother, Srimati Sachi Devi, his father, Sri Jagannath Mishra, and Sri Advaita.
Yeah, so Sachimata. And then it's interesting because there's a book called Gaura Ganadash Dipika where it tells, you can look up any personality in Lord Chaitanya's Leela and who they were in Krishna Leela. And so there's a lot of parallels. So for example, Sachimata in Lord Chaitanya's mother is Mother Yashoda in Braj. And Jagannath Mishra is Nanda Maharaj in Braj. So they all, Krishna comes with his eternal mother, eternal father. It's not different people. It's all the same people. And they always come. So like that. Yeah.
So that Goloka was there, indicated the same thing in Vrindavan. So that's true, right?
Yeah, so Goloka is in the spiritual world.
Well,
And when Krishna descends in Vrindavan, then basically that whole Goloka comes down. Yeah, yeah. And then when he appears in Navadvip as Lord Chaitanya, so Lord Chaitanya is in disguise. So then all of those same people come, but they all come in disguise. They all come like in a different form. Yeah, and even like, see, because Lord Chaitanya is male and he ends up being a sannyasi. So in Vraj Lila, Vrindavan Lila, Krishna's intimate associates are female, right? Radharani, the gopis. But Lord Chaitanya can't be having female associates who are close to him because he's a sannyasi. So all those Radharani and Lalita, Vishaka, all the gopis, all the manjaris, they all take male forms in Chaitanya Lila, and they are his close associates that he reads Srimad Bhagavatam together and relishes these deep meditations, and he shares his heart and his meditation to it. Okay. Where are we? 96. Prakatiya deke acharya sakala samsara Krishna bhakti gandhahina vishaya vyavahara. Nikesh, would you like to read 96?
Sure. Vaita Acharya having appeared, he found the world devoid of devotional service to Sri Krishna because people were engrossed in material affairs.
Okay, so yeah, this is Advaita Acharya's reason for calling out is because at that time, there was hardly anyone serving Krishna because Krishna had left the planet, almost 5,000 years ago. And so much time passed that people practically forgot about Krishna. He came just 500 years ago.
Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya came.
Yes.
Yeah. So by that time, 5,000 years had passed and people had forgotten about Krishna. Even in Vrindavan, all the places of Krishna's pastimes were lost. People didn't know where Radhakund was. They did all the deities that were established by Krishna's great grandson Vajranabh shortly after went back to the spiritual world, like left this world. They were all lost. The deities were lost. The temples were in ruins. Everything was gone. Nobody knew anything. So, yeah, there was not like the whole bhakti, worship of Krishna was practically unheard of. Everyone was just like worshiping demigods and whatnot. So Advaitacharya is just like, the world needs help. This is really sad. No one's worshiping Krishna. It's a big problem. Okay, so 97. Keha pape, keha punye, kare vishaya boga, bhakti ganda nahi yate yaya bhavaroga. Everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. Advaitacharya saw the entire world to be engaged in activities of material piety and impiety, without a trace of devotional service or Krishna consciousness anywhere. The fact is that in this material world, there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. Material necessities are supplied by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We sometimes feel scarcity because of our mismanagement, but the real problem is that people are out of touch with Krishna consciousness. Everyone is engaged in material sense gratification, but people have no plan for making an ultimate solution to their real problems, namely birth, disease, old age, and death. These four material miseries are called bhavaroga, or material diseases. They can be cured only by Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for human society. So he's saying, keha pape, keha punye. So someone is sinful, someone is pious, but everybody is just doing the same thing, which is vishaya boga, trying to enjoy the senses in different ways, some sinfully, some piously, but the goal of life is sense gratification. And then he says, bhakti ganda nahi. Ganda means smell. So like a whiff. There's not even a whiff of bhakti. Like there's just not a trace of bhakti anywhere. And and it's only that bhakti that's going to drive away this bhava roga, the disease of material existence. So it's a very bad situation, very bleak. Text 98. Lokagati deki acharya karuna hridaya vichara karena lokera kaiche hitahaya. Go ahead, buddy.
Seeing the activities of the world, the Acharya felt compassion and began to ponder how he could act for the people's benefit. Okay. This sort of serious interest in the welfare of the public makes one bona fide Acharya. An Acharya does not exploit his followers. Since the Acharya is a confidential servitor of the Lord, his heart is always full of compassion for humanity in its suffering. He knows that all suffering is due to the absence of devotional service to the Lord, and therefore he always tries to find ways to change people's activities, making them favorable for the attainment of devotion. That is the qualification of an Acharya. Although Sri Advaita Prabhu that himself was powerful enough to do the work as a submissive servitor, he thought that without the personal experience of the Lord, no one could improve the fallen condition of society. In the grim clutches of Maya, the first-class prisoners of this material world wrongly think themselves happy because they are rich, powerful, resourceful, and so on. These foolish creatures do not know that they are nothing but play dolls in the hands of material nature, and that at any moment material nature's pitiless introduce can crush to dust all their plans for godless activities. Such foolish prisoners cannot see that, however they improve their position by artificial means, the calamities of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age are always beyond the jurisdiction of their control. Foolish as they are, they neglect these major problems of life, busy themselves with the false things that cannot help them solve their real problems. They know that they do not want to suffer death or pangs of disease and wound. But under the influence of illusory energy, they are grossly negligent and therefore do nothing to solve the problems. This is called Maya. People held in a grip of Maya are thrown into oblivion, oblivion after the death and as a result of their karma. In the next life, they become dogs or gods, although most of them become dog. To become gods in the next life, they must engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Otherwise, they are sure to become dogs or hogs in terms of the laws of nature. The third class prisoners, being less materially opulent than the first class prisoners, endeavor to imitate them. But they also have no information of the real nature of their imprisonment. Thus, they also are misled by illusory material nature. The function of the Acharya, however, is to change the activities of the both first class and third class prisoners for their real benefit. The endeavor makes him a very dear devotee of the Lord, who says clearly in Bhagavad Gita that no one in the human society is dearer to him than a devotee who constantly engages in service by finding ways to preach messages of the Godhead for the real benefit of the world. So-called acharyas of the age of Kali are more concerned with exploiting the resources of the followers than mitigating their miseries. But Sri Advaita Prabhu, as an ideal acharya, was concerned with improving the conditions of the world to change them.
Jai. Yeah, so it says here, Loka Gati Deki means seeing, Gati means the goal, like where it's going, the destination. They're saying seeing the destination or the course, the way that the world is going. Acharya Karuna Hridaya, that his heart became full of compassion. Right? Karuna means compassion, Hridaya means heart. And then, thinking like this, thinking of he started thinking about Hita, the welfare, the benefit. Yeah, how can these people be benefited? So this is the nature of a great spiritual personality, is that they're always thinking about the benefit of others. Like for himself, he's fine. Advaitacharya is Krishna conscious, he's happy, he's doing fine. But when he sees that people are suffering and they're just becoming more and more entangled in karma and reactions and miseries of life, then he really starts thinking very hard how to help these people. So that's what Prabhupada says. The function of the Acharya is to change the activities. So we have this material world is like a prison. And no one's happy in prison and no one has freedom. You may think that like a first class prisoner is thinking that relative to the third class prisoners, I have more freedom because I have a little more money. Maybe I have a nice car, maybe I have whatever, some social connections. So I can do things. I can get things done more than somebody who doesn't have those things. But still, they're so limited, right? They're so limited by their limited little material intelligence, the limited bodily strength, and we're very limited when our soul is in the material body. But the soul is actually capable of doing amazing things, right? The soul can even create a planet or fly to other planets, or like Narada Muni, right? He's a jiva soul. So the soul can do these things, but because we're stuck in the body, then it's like we're trapped and limited by this thing that we're in. So yeah, and just being in this material world, we're subject to so many unnatural situations, right? Like old age and disease and death and rebirth, which are totally unnatural for the soul. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Najayate mriyate va kadachin, right? For the soul, there's neither birth nor death. So it's very unnatural. So then But people stay stuck here because they can't see beyond it, right? They don't know, they don't even know that there's a life outside of the prison. They just think this is it. This is the reality. I was born in jail. I'll die in jail. I'll live out my life here in jail. And I'll just try to figure out how to get some privileges or advantages within the prison system, which is what most people are doing in this world, right? But the point is, no, you got to get out of jail. So people like Advaita Acharya, they're outside of the jail and they're looking in the window of the jail and they're like, these people are really miserable. They're really trapped. They're not living their real life. You know, they're just living in this very oppressive situation, restrictive situation. So he wants to change the way of thinking. He wants to make them understand that, no, stop just trying to get comfortable in the jail. You need to learn how to get out of jail. You need to get into the real world and have a real life with real people and with real freedom. So that's what the acharyas are trying to tell us to do. It's like, you guys stop just focusing on trying to get money and have a relationship and a house and a car and whatever in this world. It's like, you're going to die, you know, within the next whatever, depending on your age. But even if you're a young person, maybe like 60, 80 years, and you have only that much time to prepare your consciousness so that when you leave this body, you can also leave this prison of the material world and go back home, back to Godhead. So, yeah, the function of the acharya is to change the activities for their real benefit. And by doing so, this makes the acharya, makes this the guru or spiritual teacher or any devotee who shares Krishna consciousness with others, makes them very dear to the Lord. Right? We were just reading that in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, anyone who teaches this knowledge to others is very, very dear to me. And he says, there will never be anyone more dear in this world to me than that person. So Krishna is very, very grateful to whoever is trying to teach others to live a Krishna conscious life. Yeah, so this Advaita Acharya is doing this. He's very concerned about these people. And he's feeling like, even though he's actually capable of delivering them, because he's an incarnation of the Lord too, but out of his humility, he's feeling himself incapable. He's feeling like, I need Krishna to come. I need the original Supreme Personality of God to come down here. This is a big job. I can't do it myself. But of course, this is all orchestrated by the Lord because Lord wants to come. So he's just looking for some excuse. And then when Advaita Acharya, Krishna, please come. And then he's like, okay, I'm coming. And then he comes as Lord Chaitanya. So we're going to get more into the thought process here of Advaita Acharya. Text 99. Apani Shri Krishna Yadi Karena Avatara, Apane Achari Bhakti Karena Prachar. Sneha.
If Sri Krishna were to appear as an incarnation, he himself could preach devotion by his personal example.
Yeah, so this is what he's thinking. If only Krishna could come, then everything would happen so easily. Okay, text 100. Nama vinu kali kali dharma nahi ara, kali kali kaiche habe Krishna avatara.
In this age of Kali, there is no religion other than the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But how in this age will the Lord appear as an incarnation? I was thinking only a devotee can think like that. How Advaita Acharya was thinking that only Sri Krishna has to appear to preach himself.
Yeah, to
Okay.
Krishna has to come and do this. Yeah. I mean, because he's thinking that these people are so fallen, they're so much in the darkness.
So he had to reappear to also teach how to be a devotee.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Text 101. Shuddha bhave kariba krishnera aradhana, nirantara sadainya kariba nivedana. Nikesh.
I shall worship Krishna in a purified state of mind. I shall constantly petition him in humbleness.
So this is his determination now. He's like, I'm going to worship Krishna and I'm going to do it very purely, very humbly, and he's going to have to listen to my appeal. Text 102. Aniya Krishnere Karon Kirtana Sanjara Tabe Se Advaita Nama Sapala Amara. Aruna, are you able to read?
Yes. My name Advaita will be fitting if I am able to induce Krishna to inaugurate the movement of the chanting of the holy name. Purport. The non-dualist Mayavadi philosopher who falsely believes that he is non-different from the Lord is unable to call him like Advaita Prabhu. Advaita Prabhu is non-different from the Lord. Yet, in his relationship with Lord, he does not merge with him, but eternally renders service unto him as a plenary portion. This is inconceivable for Mayavadis because they think in terms of mundane sense perception and therefore think that non-dualism necessitates losing one's separate identity. It is clear from this verse, however, that Advaita Prabhu, although retaining his separate identity, is non-different from the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached the philosophy of inconceivable simultaneous oneness with the Lord and difference from him. Conceivable dualism and monoism are conception of the imperfect senses, which are unable to reach the transcendence because the transcendence is beyond the conception of limited potency. The action of Sri Advaita Prabhu, however, give a tangible proof of inconceivable non-dualism. One who therefore surrenders unto Sri Advaita Prabhu can easily follow the philosophy of inconceivable simultaneous dualism and monism.
So yeah, he's saying, my name Advaita will be fitting if I can get Krishna to come down. So Advaita, his name literally means non-different or non-dual. And then we're not two different people. So, which is true in Advaita Acharya's case, because he's also Vishnu Tattva, he's also in the category of the Lord, being an expansion of the Lord. But Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about oneness. He says that these impersonalists, they want to become one with the Lord, but it's not possible for the soul to just merge and become one with the Lord. It's not our constitutional position. It's unnatural for the soul, because our constitutional position is Jivara Swarpahoy, Krishna Nitya Das, that we're eternally the servants of Krishna. So if you merge with someone and become one, how can you serve them? How can you have a relationship with someone that you just merged with, right? You need to have a separate personality so you can talk to them and interact with them and, serve them. So we need to, Krishna created us as all as unique individuals, and we are eternally individuals. Like he says in the Bhagavad Gita, that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor in the future shall any of us ever cease to be. Well, we're eternal individuals. But at the same time, we do have a oneness, and that's in quality, right? Because Krishna is eternal, we're eternal. Krishna is spiritual, we as souls are spiritual. Krishna is full of knowledge, the soul also has knowledge. Krishna is blissful, we're also happy by nature. So just that Krishna is unlimited in size and we are tiny. That's the difference. So it's like if you take a drop of water out of the ocean, it has all the same chemical constitution as the ocean. If you analyze the proportion of salt, proportion of whatever chemicals are there, the ocean is going to have the same proportion because it's a homogeneous. It's always mixing around and homogenizing itself. But the drop is a lot different from the ocean, right? So in one sense, it's exactly the same chemically. It's exactly the same as the ocean, but in quantity, it's very different. So like that, we're qualitatively the same as Krishna, but quantitatively a lot different. But there's a way in which we can achieve oneness, and that's what Prabhupada talks about in one of his Bhagavad Gita purports. He says that we should try to have oneness of interest, right? We should make our goal in life aligned with Krishna, right? So for example, Krishna wants all the fallen souls to stop suffering in this material world and go back to Godhead. So if we also want that same thing and we're devoting our lives to working with that in that mission, then that's oneness. So it's in that sense that Advaita Prabhu is saying this, Advaita Acharya, saying, I know that Krishna wants people to practice religion. He wants them to be his devotees because constitutionally that's who they are. That's who they're meant to be. That's who Krishna made them to be. So if I can just remind them of their actual identity and revive their dormant devotion, their dormant love for Krishna, then that will be, in that way, my life will be totally aligned. My will be one with the will of the Supreme. Like that. So that's the oneness. So he's saying, if I can just get them to chant Hare Krishna, then I'll be, I'll have achieved oneness with the Lord because I'm doing the work of the Lord. I'm fulfilling the mission of the Lord. Okay, text 103. Krishna Vasha Karibena Kon Aradane Vicharite Eka Shloka Aila Tanramane. Kritika, are you able to read? Probably not. Okay, then I will read. While he was thinking about how to propitiate Krishna by worship, the following verse came to his mind. So this happens, when you're thinking of doing some service for Krishna, then some inspiration comes that gives you direction how to do it. Or if you're trying to prepare for a class and you read the verse, you read the purport, and you're like, oh, what am I going to say? All of a sudden, boom, like so many ideas just pop up out of nowhere. So that's what he's thinking. I really need to get these people I really need to get the Lord to come. How am I going to get him? How am I going to convince him to come? And then this verse from scripture pops up into his mind. So text 104. Tulasi dalamatrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha.
Krishna is very affectionate to self himself to a devotee in power in tulsi leaf and a pond of water.
So this verse popped up like, if you want Krishna to do something, this is how you can make him do things. If you just offer him a tulsi leaf and water, then he becomes very affectionate towards you and he'll do anything you want. So he's like, all right, that's it. Easy, I can do that. Okay, so that's, huh?
Things, but Krishna is just says himself in like a palm of water and tulsi a leaf.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are so much better, but they could not fulfill God.
Yeah. Yeah, we see that like in the Govardhan Hill pastime at Anyor, when they're offering so many food preparations to Govardhan Hill, and then Govardhan Hill keeps saying, Anyor, give me more, give me more. And then they're bringing more and more, and they're offering like piles of rice and like vats full of dal and sabjis and puris and ladus and just like literally mountains of it. He's Anyor, Anyor. And then they're starting to think, oh, we're running out of food. What's going on here? What are we going to do? And then when Brahman comes along, when, very learned Brahman, he comes, he puts a tulsi leaf there on the top of it. And then Krishna's like, Govardhan's like, satisfied. Right. Or there's another pastime where, what is it? They're trying to, oh yeah, it happens in Dwarka and Satyabhama is there on the scale. And they're offering Krishna like a weight of gold or something, weight of jewels that's equal to the weight of Satyabhama.
Equal to the weight of Krishna?
Equal to the weight of Krishna?
He's putting the gold.
She gave everything, but it wasn't the weight of
Krishna was still too heavy. And then Rukmini came along with a tulsi leaf,
Yeah.
puts it there, boom. The scale goes right down. Krishna's up. Okay, done. Yeah. So we see the tulsi leaf and we think, oh, simple little thing, nothing, But in Krishna's mind, tulsi leaf is the most valuable thing, more valuable than mountains of gold. Okay. Text 105, 106. Ishlokarta acharya karena vicharana Krishna ke tulasi jala deya yei jana Tararina shodite Krishna karina chintana Jala tulasi rasama kichu gare nahitana. Whose turn? Who just read?
Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of the verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water. Lord Krishna thinks there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulsi leaf.
Hmm. So then Krishna becomes indebted. Krishna owns everything in the world, but if you offer him a tulsi leaf, he's like, oh no, I can't repay that debt. That's how valuable the tulsi leaf and water is. Tabe atma vechi kare rinera shodana eta bhavi achaya karena aradana.
Thus the Lord liquidates the debt of by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshipping the Lord. To devotional service, one can easily plead Lord Krishna with a leaf of the tulsi plant and a little water. As the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or some water, patram pushpam phalam toyam, when offered with devotion, very much pleases him. He universally accepts the service of his devotees. Even the poorest of devotees in any part of the world can secure a small flower, fruit, or leaf and a little water. And if these offerings, and especially tulsi leaves and Ganges water, are offered to Krishna with devotion, he is very satisfied. It is said that Krishna is so much pleased by such devotional service that he offers himself to his devotee in exchange for it. Srila Advaitacharya knew this fact and therefore he decided to call for the personality of Godhead Krishna to descend by worshipping the Lord with tulsi leaves and water of the Ganges.
So very sweet, right? He's saying that Krishna becomes in debt. All the wealth in the whole universes can't equal the value of the tulsi leaf. So because Krishna can't repay that debt with anything, he has to give himself. And that's what Advaitacharya wants. He wants Krishna. So then Krishna has to come. And that's the way that he's going to give himself. Yeah, so when Krishna says patram pushpam phalam toyam, the patram that he likes is tulsi pata, tulsi leaf. Text 108. Ganga jala tulsi manjari anukshana Krishna pada padma bhave kare samarpana. Nikesh?
Thinking of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, he constantly offered tulsi buds in water from the Ganges.
So then he says he was constantly offering. Krishna, 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 Krishna. All right, text 109. Krishnara avana kare kare ahunkara emate Krishnere karaila avatara. Aruna?
He appealed to Sri Krishna with loud calls and thus made it possible for Krishna to appear.
Die. So he was doing that and he was also calling out, Krishna, Krishna, please come. Text 110. Chaitanyara avatare e mukhya hetu bhaktera ichaya avatare dharma setu. Therefore, the principal reason for Sri Chaitanya's descent is this appeal by Advaita Acharya. The Lord, the protector of religion, appears by the desire of his devotee. Chai. So yeah, that was the external, that like trigger reason, the catalyst. Yeah, they call it the catalyst for the Lord's appearance. But he also had his own purposes. Of course, the external purpose was related to Advaita Acharya. He came to teach people, to save people from, sinful life and material miseries. But also he came to give people the highest level of bhakti, Raj Bhakti. And then he also had his internal reasons that we're going to learn about in the next chapter. So text 111. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hritsaroja aseshu tekshita pato nanunata pumsam yad dhyata udugaya vibhavayanti tad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. You want to read this stuff? Okay.
O my Lord, you always dwell in the vision and hearing of your pure devotees. You also live in their lotus-like hearts, which are purified by devotional service. O my Lord, who are glorified by exalted prayers, you show special favor and your devotees are manifesting yourself in the eternal forms in which they welcome you.
So Lord Advaita Acharya was very much welcoming him. And so this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam says how the Lord, when he's asked to come, then with devotion, then he comes. So that's what's going to happen. Okay, do you want to read purport, Mother Vaidehi?
Yes, this text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11. Is a prayer by the Lord Brahma to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his blessings in the work of creation. Knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood from the descriptions of the Vedic scriptures. For example, Brahma Samhita 5.29 describes that in the abode of Lord Sri Krishna, which made of Chintamani, touchstone, the Lord acting as a cowherd boy is served by hundreds, thousands of goddesses of fortune. Mayavadis think that the devotees have imagined the form of Krishna, but authentic Vedic scriptures have actually described the Krishna and his various transcendental forms. The word Sruta in Sruta Sita Pataha refers to the Vedas. Ikshita indicates that the way to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead is by proper study of the Vedic scriptures. One cannot imagine something about God or his form. Such imagination is not accepted by those who are serious about enlightenment. Here Brahma says that one can know Krishna through by studying the form, name, qualities, pastimes, Supreme Personality of Godhead is attracted to the Lord. But one is attracted to the Lord. He can execute the devotional service and form of the Lord will impress in his heart and remain transcendentally situated there. Unless a devotee actually develops transcendental love for the Lord, it is not possible for him to think always of the Lord within his heart. Such a constant thought of the Lord is sublime perfection of the yogic process. As the Bhagavad Gita confirms in the 6th chapter, 47, stating that anyone absorbed in the thoughts is the best of all yogis. Such a transcendental absorption is known as samadhi. A pure devotee who is always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person qualified to be the Lord. One cannot speak of Purogaya, the Lord, who is glorified by sublime prayer, unless one is transcendentally elevated. The Lord has innumerable forms, as the Brahma Samhita confirms. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupa. The Lord expands himself in innumerable forms. When a devotee hearing about the innumerable form becomes attached to one and always thinks of him, the Lord appears to him in that form. Lord Krishna is especially pleasing to such devotees. In those hearts, he always present because of their highly elevated transcendental love.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Prabhupada was explaining how Krishna has many forms, and devotee develops an attraction to a particular form of the Lord. Like there's Krishna, there's Lord Ramachandra, there's Lord Nrsimhadev, and different forms of the Lord. But mainly Krishna is the form of the Lord that the scriptures direct us to become attached to, because he's the original source of all incarnations, Krishna. But even with Krishna, there's different moods, that Krishna in Vrindavan is very different from Krishna in Dwarka. Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is very different from Krishna in the Adi-lila, or Krishna on the lap of Mother Yashoda, Damodar-lila, is very different from Krishna who's wrestling cowherd boys or killing demons, dancing on the head of Kaliya or something, right? So Krishna is different pastimes, different moods, And devotees will tend to be attracted to, you know, a certain mood of Krishna or an age or a particular form or particular pastime that really they connect with. They're very attracted to that particular lila that Krishna has a particular mood in, like that. So what this verse is saying is that as we advance in devotional service and our minds become attached to a particular, you know, form or qualities or pastimes of Krishna, then we will meditate on that form, right? When we think of Krishna, that's the Krishna that we'll see. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're trying to connect with Krishna, that's the form that's going to appear in our minds. And, you know, when we call upon Krishna, that's the form that's going to be revealed to us. And when we go back to Godhead, that is the Krishna that that's going to greet us at the door, right? of Goloka, at the gate of Goloka. So, yeah, that's the saying here. So Prabhupada just says here that if you're not feeling, if you want to connect with a certain form of the Lord and you're feeling like it's not happening, right? Because it says here, whatever form you meditate on, that's the form that he's going to manifest to you by his mercy. But Prabhupada says that you can't imagine a form. Saying is that you need to have love for him. And because without love, you can't always think of him. And the qualification for Krishna to appear to you is that you need to be always thinking of him with love. So at least that's what we're working on, right? We're trying to think of Krishna. That's why it's called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We're trying to be conscious of Krishna. Think of Krishna. When we chant Krishna, the names of Krishna, we're trying to think of Krishna, connect with him. When we go to the temple and see the deities, we're standing there in front of Shri Radha Kalachandji, we're trying to meditate on them, connect with the person Krishna, who the form of Kalachandji. So like that, when we cook for Krishna, the idea is we're cooking for a person, we're cooking for Krishna. When we do the offering, like, here you go, Krishna. So, you know, all the things, all the spiritual practices that Prabhupada taught us in ISKCON, basically, are trying to just focus our minds on Krishna, bring us to Krishna consciousness so that we can always think of Krishna. And then by thinking of him, then he'll reveal himself more and more. And as he reveals himself more and more, then we're naturally going to love him more and more. Because the only reason that we don't have love for him is because we don't know enough about him, right? Like you see a random person walking down the street, you don't immediately just love them, right? But let's say you strike up a conversation with them, you become friends, and then you start, you know, they come to temple, you're doing service together, you develop a relationship, and then who knows, maybe you fall in love with them, right? But maybe just like, you know, 6 months ago, they were just some random stranger that you didn't care about. And all of a sudden it's like, you're thinking about them all the time because you're like, you know, infatuated with them. That happens, right? So yeah, it's just because you didn't know them. You didn't know all their wonderful qualities, what a nice person they are, how adventurous they are, how exciting they are, their achievements and their, you know, different qualities. So the more we know about Krishna, the more we're going to love him because he's all attractive. He's all lovable. And so then how do we know about him? One way is hearing about him, reading about him. And the main way though, is that he reveals himself by his mercy when he's pleased with us. So when we do service and then Krishna sees, oh, that soul is trying to serve me so nicely, is really treating my devotees kindly, trying very hard to chant attentively, is really, you know, really surrendering, really going out of their way, making a personal sacrifice to try to advance in spiritual life. Then he's like, I think I'll just reward them with some little revelation of my personality. And they're like, oh my God, Krishna, you're amazing, right? That happens. Okay, yeah. So let's go to 112. Ishlokera artha kahi sankshepera sara bhaktera ichaya Krishna sarva avatara. Sneha.
The essence of the meaning of this verse is that Krishna appears in all innumerable eternal forms because of the desires of his pure devotees.
And that's another reason why Krishna has so many different forms, is because he has so many different devotees. And so devotees, they they want to worship Krishna in a certain way, and Krishna's like, okay. It's like in the first canto, it's described that when Krishna marries all the different queens of Dwarka, so 16,108 different women, and they all have their different personalities, right? They're all very different. So what Krishna does is he actually matches his personality to their personality, not vice versa. He's not like, all right, I'm a man here. You have to mold yourself to be the way I want you to be, my perfect wife. He does the opposite. He's like, okay, she's like this. I need to be like this with her, right? So some of his wives are very adventurous, like Satyabhama. She's very feisty and outgoing, and she likes to just take risks and do exciting things. And so Krishna, he's very dramatic and flamboyant, and he takes her places, and when he's going somewhere, he'll put her on the back of a Garuda and go flying off into battle with her on the back and things like that, because that's what she likes. And then others of them, maybe they're more quiet, stay at home, and just be with the children. So in those cases, then Krishna will be like, all right, let's just stay home tonight. Let's just play with the kids, and then just have some nice, sweet, relaxed conversation. And so he'll do that with that wife. Like that. Others, they're like more social life. So like, okay, let's go out. Let's go see the neighbors. Let's have a party. Let's invite everyone. So when Narada Muni went to Dwarka, he was seeing how Krishna was doing different things. Every palace, it was like Krishna was a little different. He had a different flavor, different activities, because he wanted to please his devotees. So that's the reciprocation with Krishna, that Krishna is such an amazing personality, because we try to please him and he tries to please us. And we try to serve him, he tries to serve us. And so that's love, right? Love is give and take. It's reciprocal. It's mutual. It's not just one-sided, that we serve, we love, we try to please, and he's just like aloof. No, that doesn't work, right? That's not a relationship. Loving relationships means two ways. I love you, you love me, I serve you. I also accept service, right? Dadati pratigrinati, guyam akyati prichati, Bhunkte bojayate chaiva sadvidam pratilakshanam. Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Instruction that offering gifts and in charity, accepting gifts from the other person, revealing your mind and confidence, also hearing what that person wants to share, and accepting prasadam. That these are 6 different loving exchanges between devotees, and also between devotees and the Lord. So like that, it's reciprocal. Okay, we have 2 more verses here. Chaturta shlokera arta haila sunishchite avatirna haila gora prema prakashite.
Thus, I have surely determined the meaning of the 4th verse. Lord Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, appeared as an incarnation to preach unalloyed love of God.
Yeah, so this is why. This is external reason, is to preach unalloyed love of God. Yeah.
It's like Lord, you did an incarnation of Krishna. And then we'll be like, no, he is Krishna.
Yeah.
Like he's not an incarnation. And then I said,
Yeah. Yeah, he appeared as an incarnation to preach. It says avatirna, right? So avatar just means one who crosses. Means to cross. The word avatar means to cross over. So even Krishna, when he comes, he's also an avatar. He also crosses. He crosses from the spiritual world to the material world. So it's just the way that, it's just how you define the word, right? So, but we know that Krishna, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna.
okay.
Text 114. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi-lila, 3rd chapter, describing the external reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hariva. All right, so tomorrow we are going to get into the deep topics, the confidential reasons for the appearance. So this chapter 3 that's the reasons why he came, that everybody knows. This is common knowledge. Next chapter is the confidential reasons that only the confidential associates of Lord Chaitanya know. So by Krishna's Das Kaviraj's mercy, we're getting into the inner circle.
So, what is covered in this?
Chaitanya Charitamrita?
No, in this 4 to 5.
Oh, well, for a while, we're just going to be reading this.
Yeah.
We read the whole Bhagavad Gita. We finished the whole Bhagavad Gita cover to cover. Just maybe like, what, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. That took a while, right?
What?
1 year.
Eight.
We read every Sanskrit, every translation, every report. I read every word.
Yeah.
So now we're doing Chaitanya Charitamrita.
This is very sweet.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Okay, sure. Let me see if there's any comments out here on YouTube. Oh, looks like nope, nobody today. Everybody's quiet. Yeah, everybody's sleepy. Okay then. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Shri the Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bo. Thank you for coming. See you tomorrow.